So good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew. I'm from Ready to Go, and welcome to another session as part of Get Online Week. Yes, fantastic. We're going to learn some interesting stuff this morning, and we're learning about booking transport because there's all sorts of ways to get around. And I myself am someone who doesn't drive. I actually don't know how to drive. I'll never learn how to drive because I'm also partially sighted. So for me, being able to drive is something that's not going to happen in my life. So getting around by public transport and booking transport systems, that's literally how I get around, and using apps and so on. So let's talk a little bit about that. Now, so we'll talk about, we'll have an intro and what you need, downloading an app and where to go, and we'll do some demos as we go along the way as well. We'll look at booking a taxi, booking a ride share. We'll use, say, Uber or Didi. I'll probably use Didi in this case. Public transport and V-Line, we'll talk a little bit about that, and disability and personal driving services. I've got a couple of good little Google searches that will give you some options for companies around Melbourne that work in those particular areas as well. And then we've got a really big safety checklist for things for you to think about. Because, you know, when you're booking transport systems and transport services, you are essentially putting your welfare into the hands of the people that are driving you. So we live in a mobile and very rapidly connected world. Yes, it's like a big web, the world we live in. We all essentially rely on each other in some way, whether it's directly connected or indirectly connected. So transport's an area in which change happens rapidly, particularly in the past decade. We've seen a variety of taxi services, ride share and personal transport options have all emerged, and there is even more yet to come. So, you know, your traditional taxi is still here, but they've had to adapt and move a lot of their booking services onto apps and online as well, and change the way that they operate. You've got the ride sharing services that have also appeared, personal driving services. And over the next decade, we may see the beginning of the first aero transport services, where you may be able to actually get a flying Uber from one destination to another, which would be a pretty amazing thing. So you may be able to go, say, down from Frankston up to the city by a flying Uber instead of actually having to get a standard taxi. So there's testing that's going on around that at the moment with a number of different companies around the world. And also remember, self-driving systems are really evolving. You may have heard about the Tesla cars that have what they call autopilot, which is a very basic form of self-navigation. Apple's working on a big self-driving project. A lot of car makers are working on self-driving projects. And so expect in the next decade or so, as self-driving vehicles really hit the mainstream, you'll find that a lot of taxis and rideshare services will change, but it will just be a case of a car will automatically just come and pick you up. Yeah, it's going to be pretty revolutionary eventually. So we live now in an area, in a time that we don't have to wait on the phone for the operator to answer our call so we can, you know, book that taxi and then actually hope it turns up because we might have spelt, you know, our street address or something incorrect. I don't know how many times when I was growing up as a teenager and as a younger person, you booked a taxi and then it didn't turn up. And you were like, what's going on? And it's because, oh, someone's misspelt the street or got the suburb wrong, and so on. So, yeah, you never know what could happen there. So, you know, now with these booking systems, you can track the car. You know when it's coming close to you, when to be at the front to wait for them, all that sort of stuff. But to access any of these online booking systems and apps and services that we have these days, you'll need one of the following. You'll need either a smartphone or a tablet or a computer. Combined with that, of course, you're going to need internet access for your device and a credit card or a digital payment system such as Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, etc. So that way you can pay through the app or the website for your trip. Many online transport companies use an app for your smartphone or tablet. You know about Uber, you would have heard of maybe Didi as well, or Ola. You know, there's quite a few different rideshare companies that have come and gone in the last decade or so. You know, you've got Lyft in the US as well. So there's quite a few brand names that are out there as ride sharing services. So when you're booking through one of these ride sharing apps, there's some things that you should see within an app. It should show you the name of the driver. It should have a map on it showing the route that is being taken, so a projected route as well, so you can actually follow along within the app. Driver and vehicle identification, so you should be able to see the license number of the car, the make and model of the car, and match that all up to the driver when you do go to get into the car. You'll have different payment options, so within the app you can access whether or not you want to pay by credit card, or whether or not you want to use PayPal, or whether or not you want to use Apple Pay. And and also within the app, you should get an option to rate your trip and your driver as well. And you should be honest. I find it quite interesting. A lot of drivers these days are quite aware of the feedback options in the apps and have started to go a little bit out of their way to be nicer. But it really just depends. The standards do vary widely. Okay, and you do find also that some drivers work for several different services. So you may find that a driver who actually drives for Uber may also drive for a couple of different other services, because there's more options for picking up customers by being a driver with several different services. So we need to download an app of some kind to our device. So, you know, for example, if you wanted to use Uber or 13Cabs or Didi or any of these others, your device is going to have internet access to download the app of your choice. And you'll need to know that if you're booking, say at home, your device should be connected up to the Wi-Fi at home. But if you're out and about and traveling and you need data, your device will need a cellular connection, so a SIM card connection of some type. So tablets aren't necessarily going to be an optimal solution unless your tablet has a SIM card built in it. So that way it can actually use the mobile phone data network and keep tracking as you're moving. Laptops, you know, that'll be fine. Desktop computers, of course, that's not coming with you unless you've got one heck of a gigantic extension cord. So we can download our devices from the Android. For Android devices, we can download them from the Google Play Store. When you look for the symbol of the Google Play Store, it's a white square with a triangle pointing to the right, which is made up of 4 different colors: red, green, blue, and yellow, which are the Google colors. So if you're on an Android device, you may also need to maybe go into your apps folder or flick through a couple of screens until you find the Play Store icon. If you are on the Play Store, once you've found it, give it a tap. The Play Store app should open up, and up the top of the screen, you'll have a search bar that you can use. If you're an Apple person, say you've got an iPhone, an iPad, or any of the Apple computers, you'll need to use the App Store. So you can tap or click the blue square symbol, which has a white A within it for app, and that'll take you into the App Store. You'll see a search button on the App Store that you can tap on the iPhones and iPads. It's on the bottom right corner of the screen. Give it a tap. Search bar appears at the top of the screen, and in there you can type in the name of the service or what you're looking for. With Windows devices, so if you've got say a Windows phone, a Surface Pro, perhaps, that's got cellular access, for example, you could also download an app for your device from the Windows Store if there's one available. You would click and tap the white shopping bag icon, which generally sits on the bottom bar of Windows. Okay, if you don't see it, click your Start button, and you should see it appear along the list of your programs, and that's the Windows Store. Now, with devices like Windows computers, laptops, and desktop computers, there may not necessarily be a dedicated app available for the service that you're looking for, but there is generally, for some of them, a website. You know, for example, I've actually found the websites for Uber and for 13Cabs. So that's an interesting one there as well. Now, actually, Uber's just failed on me. Bear with me a moment, everyone. These things happen because sometimes the internet breaks down. And as I've said it before to people, humans make technology. Humans are fallible, therefore technology is fallible. There we go. So, okay, there we are. Actually, the Uber website's not being very helpful for us today, to be honest with you, but 13cabs has definitely got an option to book it through their website, and we'll take you through that in a little while. So, when you get into these stores, you're going to tap the search function, and when you get the search function, you're popping in the name of the service or the type of thing you're looking for. You could use generic terms such as taxi, rideshare, or Uber, and you'll get a list of names appearing along with rating and information for each one of the apps. You'll tap the name of the app that you want to access. You'll either tap Get, download, install, or open to bring that app into your device, and then you can open and access it. When you first actually use one of these apps, by the way, you are going to need to put in some payment information. So have a credit card nearby, or have some payment information such as, say, your Apple Pay or your Google Pay or your PayPal available, depending on the type of one you've got. So let's now actually do something a little different, and we're going to actually go and have a look at one of the app stores. So I'm going to take you to the app store on the iPhone here, and so we'll take you into my personal iPhone, and we'll take you into the app store. So bear with me, we're going to share my iPhone screen. Aha. Okay, iPhone, iPad, there we go. Great, so we should see my phone. There we go. Here's my phone. Welcome to my phone. Now, of course, there's a number of different apps that I could use to look at services, but I want to first of all go and download something. So in order to do that, I'm looking for the App Store, which I never find when I need it. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go to the App Store here. There we go. Now, here we go. So what we've got here is the Apple App Store, bottom right corner of the screen. What you can do is click on the word search. So we tap on search, up comes the top, and then I can put in, first of all, I might type in the word taxi and then hit the search. When I do that, it now searches through for options for the word taxi. Okay. And it's looking for taxi apps right now. There we go. So first of all, there's 13cabs. Now I've already got that app, so that's why it's got the word open. And then here we go, we've actually already got a number of suggestions for other apps and ride sharing services such as Ola and Bolt as well. The Silver Service Travel, Black and White, so and Lyft, so a whole lot of different particular apps, and even, there we go, a taxi sim game. Yeah, you couldn't get away from games if you tried. Silvertop Taxis, Uber, there's the old Crazy Taxi game. So yeah, lots of different options here coming up straight away. So what I would do is, for example, if I tap 13cabs, this is the page for the 13cabs app. If I hadn't ever downloaded the app before, that word open in the blue blob would be the word get. And as I come down, I can see information, 56,000 ratings at 4.8, so it's very popular. Number 11 in the chart, so again, very popular app. So developed by 13cabs, it's a very small little app. And you've got a whole lot of different little preview screens here that you can use. I'm going to take you into this particular app in more detail as we come into the booking section. And also just one thing to remember, when you are in the App Store, have a look at the ratings and reviews, which is always a good thing to have a look at. And always feel free to have a look at the app privacy area as well. That's, really, really a good thing, because it's always nice to know what information that they have access to. And really the nice thing here with 13cabs, they only have the most basic access to information, which is great. So a whole lot of different options here, and even other apps that you can look at. So of course, if you wanted to download that, instead of tapping open, you would have, you'd see the word get. You tap the word get, and down the app comes into your device. When it's downloaded, then you can tap the word open. And when you do, the app will open up, and away we go. There we go, and then it's got my address, and it's now just waiting for some information. Ah, yes, yes, you can use your taxi or driver or so on as a parcel delivery service. You know, when Australia Post is struggling, the other services are all picking up the slack, which is pretty good. So that is the 13Cabs app. If we also come over, let's have a look at one of the ride sharing apps. So there's Diddy there as well, Silver Service, a whole lot of these different apps. If we come back, let's tap on Diddy, get some more information about Diddy. So Diddy's got a 4.9 rating, number 7 in the chart. So again, it's very popular. It's a larger app. And you can see that they've got some preview images, support services, all that sort of stuff. We come down and lots of people's reviews. So some people love it, a couple of not so happy reviews there, but mostly okay. Less data being tracked as well, which is interesting. So yeah, all that sort of stuff that you see within an app. But if you, now the word update has appeared on this one. So if I tap the word update, it means that the app actually needs an update in order to make itself function a little bit better. So of course, once I've downloaded those apps, I can tap open and they're there and ready to go within my device to come along and make a booking with a service of some kind. Ooh. So that's where things get really interesting, because now we're getting ready to actually start making bookings. So we've looked for an app to download and so on. Oh, while I've got you, actually, just while I'm thinking of that, because it's probably a good time to show you that too. So let's just show you quickly Google Chrome, and let's just change that screen again. Okay, let's share screen. There we go. Now, here is Google Chrome, and you can see here I've gone to the 13Cabs website, and they've actually got, yes, a great big ad for the app, which is not a surprise, but you can do a fair estimate. You can still book a taxi through the website as well, or you could download the app. So if I tap the book now, when we do that, there we go. And now it gives you, aha, great. You've got a map in there, and you've got all the information you need on the left-hand side, and even the choice of the taxi you like, whether or not it's wheelchair accessible or a maxi taxi, and even parcel delivery. Wow. So yeah, quite a bit there, and that's just built in to their website. So their app is very similar as well. Very cool. I always like that when you, you know, when transport companies give you that option of using a website, just because you might be just that little bit old school, which is nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we've looked at downloading an app, and we've downloaded it from a store. So let's talk about booking a taxi. So many taxi services offer an app which lets you book on, which lets you book your trip, very similar to how you'd use a ride-sharing app. When you first use that app, you'll be guided through a setup process, which will include your ID and payment info. When you go to book, though, you open up the app. Then you're going to confirm that your location is the correct one, so it should actually see you right where you are. Now you can actually go in and tune that up if you like. If you're living in a block of units, you're not going to add your own personal unit number. Don't do that, because the taxi can't come to your unit. It can come to the outside of your block of units. So put your street address. Now once you're confirmed and you're happy that the address shown on the map is yours, tap the destination field, enter your destination, confirm the address, and then choose the type of vehicle or service you require. Now, some ride-share services offer different sides of vehicles, that even courier services. The same with the taxis are doing this now as well, as we were seeing earlier. Price estimation shown, and then you can tap the ready or book button to request your driver. Now, you can even schedule ahead. You know, you just be able to call for a taxi and say, could I have that taxi come around at 3 o'clock, please? Well, you can do that the same with these services as well. So apps will include a schedule option, which lets you book ahead for a specific time. And rideshare and some taxi services would charge premium or surge pricing at morning and evening peak times and after special events. Yeah, so be really careful here. If you do need to book transport and it is during the morning or afternoon peak, you are probably going to be paying a little bit extra. And that actually a little bit extra can sometimes be double, depending on what it is. Special events, sometimes if there's surges because of protests that happen, emergencies where transport suddenly goes out, all that sort of stuff, you will see transport services and ride sharing services and taxis and so on move to a surge pricing model because of the higher demand. It's not particularly nice. It does attract a lot of criticism to surge pricing, but that is your personal choice because some other services don't do that. So really, it's one of those ones to have a look at for yourself. Now, let's come back to the phone, and we're going to go into the 123 Cabs app now, and we'll walk through the actual booking a taxi and take you through some of the features of the app here. This is quite interesting when we do this. Hopefully I won't actually book a taxi because he might not be happy with me and I'll have to pay a fee. Some taxi services, if you cancel within a couple of minutes, you may get charged a fee because the taxi could be already be on its way. And of course, that means that the driver is essentially not getting any money, which is not good. So here we are back at the first page that I had earlier. And I'm just going to dismiss this little message there and make sure that you can see the screen sharing. There we go. So I'm just going to dismiss this. Okay, got it. And that would be right. The app fails when I need it. And welcome to the joy of technology. Here we go. We'll try again. Second time lucky. Fingers crossed. There we go. So we've now got the map up and we can see that it's pinpointed my address and it's got the street address there. Now I could tap that and actually change that and make that 37 Hope Street because that's the correct address. There we go. Now, when I come back there, I can also put in my destination. And of course, I could choose anywhere I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the work address, 41 Stewart Street. There we go. So that's our address for the office. There we are. We now have an estimation of what the route is going to look like. And so as we come down Toorak Road, down Punt Road, and back over into Richmond. Now, what we've got here, possible here is next available, wonderful passengers, a price guarantee of $15.96, so no more than that. An option to pay via Apple Pay, adding notes for the driver or scheduling. And if I tap the I'm ready now, that is literally where the system starts to summon a driver and then give us information. So I'm going to tap the next available. Now I can see the different types of vehicle that are available. So for example, I could do a parcel delivery, the wheelchair, taxi, the wagon, the SUV and the sedan are all charging similar prices. Your maxi taxi is where you're going to be paying a premium. Looks like you're paying double there. So we can come out of that. If I tap that next available, there we go. Now, when I've got payment options, I can see Apple Pay. If I give it a tap there, I'm already using Apple Pay, fantastic, but I can add a new payment method and I can add in Visa, MasterCard, different cards there as well. I can add my debit card, a credit card or cab charge card as well. So a number of different cards there, but it looks like it's giving Apple Pay exclusivity on the payment systems on the iPhone there, no bad thing. Adding notes for the driver. So, it could be, I only sit on the left side of the cab, perhaps, something like that. I can tap schedule and there we are. Now I get rollers and I can set a date and use the confirm pickup time. I'm going to cancel that schedule there for a minute. And then of course, if I tap the I'm ready now, what will happen is that the system will summon the driver and then give you the details of the driver. So I'm going to tap I'm ready now. I'll cancel the job So I'm going to double click to pay that. They will take that from my card, but I'll get some of it back. There we go. They're requesting the cab. And here we go. So they're looking for the cab right now. There we go. I will cancel it, but I'll pay a fee for that. There we go. Requesting drivers. And then what I'll do is I'll just cancel that actually. But it is looking for a driver not right now. And then, yes, I'm going to cancel the booking just for the moment. There it is. Other. There we go. There we go. Submit. Right. Now, I'm probably might pay a couple of dollars fee for that sometimes. If you cancel after a driver has been assigned, you can sometimes be charged a fee by the taxi and services because they've essentially got a driver on their way to you. So that is booking on the app there. Okay, so that's booking on the app. Now, of course, it looks very similar on the website. So if we go over to the website and we'll just show you that functionality on the website. If the service knows you've booked in peak, do they include search price in the quote? No, if you book ahead, what will happen there is that if you book for a peak time, the booking fee will include any search pricing if they're applying it. So they won't add that on top. If they're doing a price guarantee as 1-3 cabs are, they can't break that price guarantee. So if you do book during a peak time and they give you a quote for a price, that's the price they're meant to honour. So as we come over to the website, you can see here, first of all, I can put in the address details here. So 37 Hope Street, there we go. And again, I could put in the destination. Now, what if we do? Right. We go to the Casey Library. Oh, it didn't like that for some reason. Wow. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, let's try that again. And Casey. There we go. Whew, here we go. On our way down. It's the library, interestingly enough. And there's your pricing. I ain't booking this cab. No way. $77 and $95. Yeah. My Scottish bone says no on that one. But there you go. You can still do a booking and choose the type of vehicle you like there as well. So that's booking a taxi using the app and also the website there as well. Interesting one, that one. Now, looking at booking ride shares. Now, when we're looking at a ride share, of course, we're thinking of sites like Uber and Didi and places like that. So let's have a look at booking a ride share. So most people are aware of ride sharing services such as Didi or Uber. You'll require an app and a credit card or a digital payment platform. You're doing it exactly the same as you would in the taxi app we've just done. So they're very similar. They're all working very similar ways. So that way it's easier for people to understand the service and get in and get booking with them. Also the rideshare apps really are the ones that will charge you the surge pricing. So definitely be careful when using those in peak times. You can see on the right hand side of the screen, I've actually already got a little mini booking happening there as an option there, and you can see the various ones. So let's go into the Didi app. There we go, we'll go into Didi. And I'm going to share that screen with you now. And we'll come into Diddy and have a little look. Okay. And here we are. Now here's Diddy. Actually, what I'll do is I'll open it up fresh. So you can just see that there. There we go. We'll open. So here's the Diddy app. There we are. Discount rides for vaccinated people. I'm going to put my vaccination numbers in. Yeah, you're going to find a lot of these ride sharing services are doing discounts for vaccinated people as well, which is pretty amazing. My goodness me. Have a look at that map, everyone. Wow. Okay, so there's quite a few vehicles in my local area to choose from. So needless to say, it wouldn't take very long for me to get a vehicle turn up to my place, which is pretty good. Now, what we can see here is on our Diddy screen, top left corner, I've got 3 lines, which is always letting you see your more function or your settings. So my trips, payments, help, messages, safety center settings, and being able to have a look at some of the other options. As I come down the screen, I've got some little information bubbles there. All drivers have gone through a background check and all that sort of stuff. Diddy vaccinates, so get discounted rides. Invite friends to use Diddy because you get a credit. Now, I've found Diddy really, really good. I do use a mixture of the different ride sharing services, and I've just found that Diddy tends to stand out. I've had a really good run of drivers with Diddy. So where do I want to go first of all? Now, it knows where I've been in the past, and it knows that I go to the office a fair bit, and it also knows I like to go shopping at Store DJ because they get me some very good synthesizers and music equipment that I have. Now, when I tap their address there, it automatically gives me a location, but let's actually put in an address. So now let's choose an address there. So I'm going to go through 94 Victoria Street. And 394 Victoria Street, there we go. On screen now, we have a number of options that we can choose, whether it's Richmond, Brunswick, or North Melbourne. At this point, I'll choose the Richmond address. Now, as we saw earlier, we can see at the top of the screen, we now have our starting point and our destinations shown at the very top of the screen with the word change to the right-hand side of them, which allows us to come along and alter that should we need to. Also, you can see on the map here as well, it's given a marked route that the app thinks will be the most optimal route. And it does actually look like it is the most optimal route. I've done this route several times, as I was saying, because I like to go shopping. And what I find is that they're very good. I can tell you they've been great. So we've got our prices down below here. We've got our Express, $15.21, the Vaccinate one. So, you know, fast and affordable, $15.21 delivery for packaging. So they're actually knocking a price down if you're only doing delivery. So again, you're getting a slight discount there. And then they have a larger Max vehicle as well. So their offering of vehicles is significantly less, but their pricing is around the same or a little bit cheaper than Uber as well. Also, I've got an option for the type of payment I've got there, and we can see that we've got a credit card there. I can tap that, and then I can go in and choose to add or remove payment methods if I like. And of course, once everything I'm happy with, I can tap to confirm and away it goes and it will start to book that cab. Now, when it does book a cab, what you'll find is that the screen will then show the driver's name. It'll also show the vehicle that they're driving, as well as its license plate number, and also some information about the driver as well. Really important that you take note of that. So it matches all up. So when the driver does arrive, and like the same with any of these apps, you know his name, you know what he looks like, you know what car he's got, what his registration is. And a lot of times services such as Diddy also include some reviews about the driver as well. So yeah, a really good little option there. So definitely one to try is apps such as Diddy. Right, let's come back to our presentation, everyone. Back to our presentation, guys. Bear with me a moment. Some days you win. There we go. Okay, so we've looked at booking a rideshare. Now, of course, the nice thing with the rideshare services, by the way, everyone, is that once you're in the cab or the rideshare and you're driving along, the app actually shows you a map of where you're going, where the driver is, the fare, all that sort of stuff. And you don't need to confirm any payment information once you're done. You just get to say goodbye to your driver, step out of the vehicle, and the payment is all taken care of for you, which is absolutely fantastic. So that's one of the nice things with using the online services, is that you're not having to worrying about tips or anything like that. It's all taken care of within the app. Okay, so it's a lot easier, a lot faster, a lot less hassle. You're in the vehicle, you're out of the vehicle. You want to talk to the driver along the way? You can talk to the driver along the way if you like. But again, it's quite simple and convenient. But just take your time when you're working through these, but they have been designed to be fairly simple to use. Let's talk about some other options. So your public transport. Now, your Mikey can be topped up online via the PTV website or via the PTV app. So you can top that up at any time. You can also use your Mikey to be topped up at any one of the quick charge top-up machines that they now have around many destinations around Melbourne, where it's just using your debit card or your credit card as well as the Mikey just to charge them up. They're very quick and simple. If you are using V-Line services out to Geelong and Ballarat, and I think some southeastern destinations as well, you can actually go as far out as that Ballarat area, and before you actually need to switch over to a paper ticket. So all you need to do is make sure that you've just got enough fare in your Mikey, and away you go, which is pretty fantastic. Actually, I really love it. I've been up to Ballarat a couple of times in the last few years, and just being able to just go with the Mikey, put 45 bucks credit onto it, bang, that's a day's worth of travel on the Mikey, and that covers the fare out to Ballarat and back, which is pretty amazing. So maybe, you know, once things get better, back onto the public transport, maybe doing those little longer trips can become a pleasure again, and being able to use your Mikey, which is pretty fantastic. Now, there's many disability and personal driving services that have recently appeared. So we've got taxi services that are, you know, have your wheelchair capable taxis, and large mobility taxis as well, you know, that can carry motorized wheelchairs. You've got a number of specialized disability transport services. And if you can do a Google search for disability transport services, or even personal drivers as well. Let's take you into a little Google search that I found earlier. I did a little bit of checking around on this one because, you know, I don't necessarily need these services now, but you never know what could happen to someone as they age. So it's an interesting thing that we have these great little services that are available. I'm going to take you into the disability transport services option just first of all there to give you a little bit of information on the disability transport services. So what you need to do simply here is do a Google search and just type in Disability Transport Services Melbourne, and you'll find a whole lot of businesses. So you've got Hendacare, you know, giving you support and transfer, homage, programmed, and then you're actually getting some further ones. Now, disability transport, Edison wheelchair transport, Link community transport as well. So there's a number of these different services around, and Better Health in Melbourne can, for the Better Health website, also has options for travel assistance for people with disabilities. And there we go. So that's that particular website from the Better Health Victoria site there. Let's pop that in the chat for you, so that way if anyone would like that, they can use that. So lots of different options there. Yeah, public transport, driving and parking, bicycle, mobility. So you get a mobility allowance as well that you can use. But you've also got all these different transport services like Link Community Transport. And this is the thing, we've now moved beyond purely taxis doing things. We're moving into areas where we've got community groups, volunteers and organisations that are working in this area. So yeah, if you know someone with a disability who really needs help to get around, well, you know, you've got some great options here, such as Link. So yeah, pretty amazing stuff there in that community space for booking transport. Okay. Now, let's finish off with some talk about safety, because safety is really important, and we live in a time where crime does occur, unfortunately, sadly, and so we do need to actually, you know, talk about how we keep ourselves safe when we work in these areas. So let's just come back into that presentation. So here we go. So taxis and rideshare services are safe, but incidents do occur. Yes, they do. This is why taxis now have cameras in the inside of them to monitor them, because over the last several years there were incidences of badly behaved taxi drivers who had you know, committed sexual assault and so on. So let's know your options for staying safe. So match the license plate number to the car. So, you know, any of the ride sharing services or taxi services, you should see the license number there. Match that up to the car, match the car's make and model. Are they in a Subaru? Is it a blue Subaru? Yes, it's a blue Subaru. Fantastic, ding. You know, if it doesn't turn up to be the right car, don't get in the car. Simple as that. Even if they're honking or horning at you, you know, it's not the right car, the registration number doesn't match. That could be someone who's impersonating a driving service, and that does happen. So check the driver's photo, check the driver's ratings within the vehicle as well. So, you know, if you're getting a driver that's coming to you and you see he's got poor ratings, you know, you might want to be a little bit nicer or perhaps be prepared, but most drivers get pretty good ratings because they are actually working hard. Which is great. Book and call and wait until the driver's close by. Yeah, don't go waiting on the street for 20 minutes. You know, that's just a bit silly. Wait inside, make that booking, and then only step outside the door when the driver's coming down your street. So that way you can just walk straight into the vehicle. Once, of course, you've verified the first couple of points. Don't try to hail ride shares, only book them using the Apple websites. Yeah, I have seen this around Melbourne before lockdown happened on Friday and Saturday nights. You'd have drunk people standing in the street and trying to hail an Uber. Now, unfortunately, you could have someone who's got an Uber sticker and they might not be an Uber driver. And the next thing, they're a predator and they've found someone to take home or do terrible things to. So yeah, don't ever do that. You're always better off to organise through the app. So you get a driver, you get everything booked. It's all taken care of and tickety-boo. And if you are drunk, don't ever travel alone. Okay, because you never know what could happen. And if you are drunk and you're going in a public transport or you're going in a ride share or a taxi, and if you do feel like you're going to be ill, give the driver plenty of chance to pull over so you're not messing up their vehicle, because most ride sharing services and taxi services now will charge you a cleaning fee if you mess up the vehicle. Okay, so yeah, it's not fair on those of us who are using these services to, you know, ruin the driver's night by having, you know, by the driver having to clean out someone sick. So yeah, give the poor guy a chance to pull over, or lady a chance to pull over, by the way. So always sit in the back of the vehicle, never sit in the front of the vehicle. I know some people really like to sit in the front because they're obsessed with seeing the road. Sit in the back. Okay, give yourself a bit of distance between you and the driver. It's something even more important in these COVID times to do anyway, and it also gives you the chance to feel a little bit more safe if something should go wrong. Now, You can follow along your trip using the app itself, or maybe a mapping app too. But within the actual app that you're using, you should see a map and you should be able to follow along your trip there. If you're out and about and you're worried about your safety, travel in groups. Get a group of friends together to share a cab. You can always split the fares on shared cabs and shared rides, sharing services. And for a long time, Uber was offering an option where you could actually share a ride with a random person. Obviously, COVID's put paid to that. Now, always use your gut instinct. Okay, so, if you got to get into a vehicle, a taxi or a ride share, and your gut instinct just says, I don't like this driver, simply just ask the driver to pull over and end the drive. If you're driving out somewhere remote, what I would do is contact friends or family via text message ASAP to say, not exactly comfortable with this driver. Can you meet me X, Y, and Z place? And, arrange to be met somewhere along the way and be picked up from that driver perhaps. So that way, at least you're not having to be in the vehicle the whole way. So yeah, use that gut instinct and be prepared to call for emergency services if you need them. Never use a service, as I was saying, when you're drunk. And if you're getting in a taxi, look for a meter, a badge, a radio, and the door handle. With taxi drivers, they've got to actually have their ID in full view of you, an easy view, and they should have an internal dash cam or a camera which is sitting above the rear view mirror so that the entire trip is recorded as well. With taxi drivers, yes, you should definitely look to see the taxi meter. They should always have some sort of identification. They should have a radio that they radio back to base with, and of course being able to get to the door handle to get out as quickly as possible. Okay, rideshare drivers should at least have a device in your view showing the route that they are going to be driving. Okay, and again, it's that same sort of thing. If you don't feel safe, get out of the vehicle. Very rarely these days do we have bad experiences with rideshare and taxis. They've gotten so much better, but things do still happen, and your safety is important. So definitely have a think about all those sorts of things when you're coming into using these services. They're not all the same. Most of the services offer very similar services, but sometimes the prices are a little bit different. So yeah, definitely things to think about there. So let's recap what we've looked at today. So first of all, in order to use most of these ride sharing services, you're probably best off using a smartphone. You can use a tablet or a computer to order them, but you'd be using a computer if you're sitting at home. Otherwise, your smartphone is going to be your best option. You'll need a credit card, a debit card, or a digital payment system in order to book your cabs and pay for them. Your online services sometimes can be accessed by a website, but it's not necessarily optimal. Your driver should be able to have on the app should show information about the driver and the route that you're going for, their identification, their feedback, payment options, all that sort of stuff should be built into the app. You can download your apps from the Google Play Store if you're an Android user. If you're an Apple user, you can download from the Apple App Store. If you're still using a Windows device, a mobiles device, you can also download any apps from the Windows Store or use the websites. Remember that you can actually go into the search function and just type in a generic term such as taxi or Uber or rideshare, and the app stores will then give you a number of options. Tap the app you want, tap the download, the get or install button, and that will go into your particular device. And then when you start it up, you'll need to go through some setup options, including setting up payment and sometimes a home address. And once that's all done, you're ready to rock and roll. You can go into the app then and open up the app, put in the address that you want to go to, choose the service that you require, and then book the service if it's straight away, or use the option to schedule a service for later, which is fantastic. With the same thing goes with the rideshare services. Go into the app, put in the address that you're going from, the address you're going to. You'll see the route displayed. Choose your service option according to whatever particular service that you're liking. make sure your payments all sorted out, hit the confirm, and then wait for the system to allocate you a driver, and then the system will show you the driver's information, and away you go. And of course, if you do cancel a booking early, once the driver's on their way, be prepared to be hit with a small fee in order to cover the driver there. If you're a public transport person, remember you can top up your Myki through a smartphone, through the PTV app or the PTV website. You can use your Myki even for limited V-line travel as well, which is great. And there's a great number of disability and personal driving services that are now available, including community groups such as Link Community Transport. So if you know someone with a disability or who's simply elderly and just struggles to get out and about and may not necessarily be comfortable with taxis or ride-sharing services, community transport services may be great for them. And again, with your safety, make sure you're doing the basics. Use your gut. Match up the name and the details of the vehicle and the car to the driver. Have a look at road ratings and so on as well to get to know the driver. Don't try and hail or hail ride shares. Don't travel when you're drunk, okay? And if you feel that things aren't necessarily right, stop at the trip early, perhaps, or contact friends and family as you go along via text message to arrange a pickup point, so that way you're out of the vehicle early and you're not having to worry about that. Also, all of your drivers and cab drivers will have ID available and easily displayable to you. And if you're in a cab, you should see every cab should have a camera above the rear vision mirror so that it's recording the internals of the cab.